Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. So I have an interesting video on location I want to do today in the beautiful Jersey shore of Long Beach Island, Ship Bottom, New Jersey. Actually, beautiful, beautiful place. So I'm with a fund manager and he's looking to hire a trader. So he asked me to come down and kind of get a second interview. The first one apparently went pretty well. They focused mostly on his performance, but I want to take a different approach, more of a different behavioral approach, and I'll just share with you some of the questions. This won't air until after the interview, which is later on today, so I'm not worried about that. But I'll figure I'd go through some of the questions and see, would you qualify for this job? All right, so I have my questions right in front of me too, and I want to ask them and think about, would you qualify them, or if some of these, how would you answer them? All right, these are, again, generally behavioral questions. I want to see some things that maybe, a trader who interviews them or a prop firm would look and say, obviously they're very focused on performance, but I want to look at some other elements, such as, and I'll go right down the list here, plan for longevity, all right? Is this a trader that is just like a one-shot deal, going to crush it, and the next day, pretty much be out in the streets? This firm doesn't want that. We're looking for longevity and someone who's going to be a really big part of the firm, for many years to come. All right. Basically, I really want to ask questions focused on their business plan. All right. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to do a business plan, just click on the link below. We did a mastermind call for our members. It's about a year ago. So, but it's still very valid and it'll help you create your own business plan for your trading. All right. Separate than your strategies. So I want to focus on longevity. I also want to get an idea a little bit about company culture match. I know a little bit about this firm, decent amount. I want to see if they're a good match, because a great trader, round peg, square hole, is probably not going to work out. And I don't know if in the first interview they really tapped into that. That's pretty much why they brought me on. So company culture, suitability. It's a really important factor when I'm looking at, should a trader be a part of a certain firm? All right. Again, regardless of results. Next, the ability to handle setbacks. I'm going to ask a question on that. How do they handle themselves? I'm really more important, not necessarily how they handle, but how they articulate how they handle it. Right. I want to get a little more balance on their life, style, and trading. All right. So do they have balance? I'm looking to see if they're living in a state of abundance or scarcity. Again, we could work on both, but I just want to get a more clear element of that. And the last one, again, as I mentioned earlier, how is their ability to articulate? One of the things I want to be able to communicate is a lot of traders are very introverted, like myself, and their communication skills, they've gotten better for me, but I'm still not at the level where I probably should be. However, can I handle myself in a situation with other traders? Can I go to a conference and talk to another fund manager? Or this particular firm often goes out and meets with, investors or gives them updates. This trader apparently has experience in that. I want to get a little more in depth into that and how that worked, and really, do they enjoy that or not? A lot of traders, they just want to be, stick me in a desk. Don't take me away from my trading day. It costs me money every time I'm talking to a trade investor who's asking a bunch of stupid questions. So I want to get their approach on that. All right, so let's get right to the questions. I have it right in front of me right here. This is the actual cheat sheet that I'm going to be using for the interview. Number one, how do you approach your work? All right, notice I said work, all right? As a trader, habits, routines. I'm looking for not necessarily consistency, but something that they sort of identify with. What's working, what's not? Again, can they articulate what their daily routine is? I don't care about brushing their teeth or meditation, right? At this point, obviously they're a good trader. They made it to the second level. Results are there. I just want to get an idea of, do they approach this sort of regimented, or, maybe give me some insight into the trader. Again, a behavioral question. It's not necessarily about results. How would you handle that? All right, let me know in your comments. How would you answer that question? All right. Question number two. Tell me about a recent setback you had and your approach during that challenging time. All right. I'm really curious to see how they handle a setback, because if you got someone who's crushing it, that's great. But if he's going to have a bad day, he or she, and start throwing monitors across the room, which I've been in those situations, it's just great trader, toxic environment. This interview is pretty much over. So I just want to see, are they focused more on getting back, their P&L? Do they keep focused on P&L or, devious things like adding to losing positions? Or do they focus on just execution? It's just part of the game. I'm really curious to see sort of their mindset and how they handle a setback. All right, it's going to happen to them, so it's going to happen to every trader. So I may as well find out now how they pretty much handle it. All right. So how are setbacks addressed in your trading and business plan? All right. Again, referencing that business plan. Do they address it in their business plan? Of course, we can work on that, but it's the question of, is it something that, well, I do this, or my business plan says I would reduce size on these type of trades, or if it's high volatility measured by the VIX, I'm gonna lower size even more, something like that. Is it a regimented, plan-driven decision versus sort of like feel? Okay, again, probably not a right or wrong answer, but how would you answer that question? Again, referencing that business plan, click on the link below. We'll give you the mastermind call that we did with our members on how to do that. Okay, going to question 3. I got 6 questions here. Walk me through some of your experience with management staff and team leaders. And what do you like about them? What changes can we make, right, in our firm to optimize these sessions for you? I want to get an idea, are they a team player or not? By the way, this whole thing about, it must be a team player. You give me a good trader who's crushing it, I'll shove him in the corner and don't touch him all day, lock the door, all right? Not really worried about that, but, with this type of level of capital, and it's probably going to be 7, probably ultimately 8 figures, I want to be able to see how they work with management. Is it sort of like a butting heads? How did you get along with your prior management team? Sometimes maybe the firm owners, they're fine, but you get that pesky risk manager who's always up your butt. How do you handle that, all right? What changes can we make? So I'm kind of inviting them to say, look, we're almost assuming here that we want you to be a part of this organization. So how do you feel about it? I'm looking for sort of, this is a cultural preference, right? Are you an introvert? How can we shape and optimize your success at our company? So I'm trying to reach out to them. Do they feel part of an employee-employer team? Or are they just sort of like a trader, so like an independent contractor just cranking out trades? By the way, both may work out. All right, this particular firm is more of a sort of family-run thing, so they kind of like that sort of hand-holding, but we'll see. I want to get enough information on there. So did they have any issues in the past? And, is it addressable too? I mean, there's never going to be perfect days, all right? Especially on bad days where the risk manager calls you in. But, how do they handle that, all right? Just what I'm curious to say. By the way, how would you handle that, all right? Make comments on the link below. All right, these are tough behavioral questions that are not really meant to blindside them, but I want to get an idea of sort of the non-performance element of the trader. Question number 4. I see he went out to meet with an investor team. All right, a lot of top traders, the staff brings their top traders along because they talk about trading, and rather just give the question to a trader to give them sort of a direct link to what trader life is all about and how they perform. Many traders don't get those opportunities, but they can be cumbersome sometimes. How do you like doing that? I want to get an idea. Are they comfortable with going out on the road? I mean, it could be, if it's in New York City, just downtown to Wall Street and meet with a bunch of investors, or is it a weekend in the Hamptons or a place like this? Are they comfortable doing that? Again, taking a trader away from a trader desk sometimes could be a little bit uncomfortable. They just want to trade. Other opportunities to say, well, can you come to the Hamptons for a weekend? Well, a lot of times they have family and they really don't want to be bothered. They just want to shut down for the weekend. So I'm curious to see that. He has experience with that, and sometimes it's difficult. But sometimes $200 prime rib is also pretty good too. So how do you like doing that? How do you feel about that responsibility? I'm going to say responsibility because it's really part of the job that we're seeking here for one of the top traders. All right, I'm looking for suitability. Is this a round peg, square hole type scenario, or is this just going to be a perfect fit? Again, the numbers are good. I'm not worried about that. It's performance. But is it a round peg, square hole? Some firms, this may not be an issue, but this particular firm, they would like to bring a few traders. They normally do that when they go on these sort of roadshow type events. Number 5. All right, by the way, do you like doing that? Okay, would you like doing that? Sounds like fun. Sometimes it can be a little pressure. After a while, when I used to do them, it just gets on my nerves sometimes. I mean, I love a good tilapia, but sometimes enough's enough. Number 5, all right? Tell me a little bit about you. I'm just putting everything down. What do you do in your downtime? Life outside of trading. I just want to get to know the person more. I particularly want to know, I don't care if they like skiing or they like boating. I particularly want to know, are they living a life of abundance? Do they have any issues at home that's going to impact their family? All right? It's okay, by the way. You're a human being, all right? And you're a good trader, human being. But maybe there's some assistance that we can provide, psych training or reviews, things like that. There's a lot of things that can be done. We just want to address them here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the person, all right? It's always a good question. I also want to see how they articulate it too. Sometimes you'd be amazed. People, you ask them about themselves and they can't really explain it. But other people just go on, oh, I like this, I like that. Oh, I like the Yankees. Oh, you like baseball? Really? Oh, we can go to a game if you like one day. And so, how do you feel about that? Kind of already warming them up, saying, this is life in this company, if you like. We have these little things that can make you feel more comfortable. Again, living a life of abundance. And question number 6, by the way, are you able to articulate that too? And try and do it maybe within 30 seconds, a little bit about yourself. What do you want to tell a future employer, whether it's a trading firm or otherwise, all right? I know a lot of people, it sounds like a simple question, but they tend to stumble on that. And the goal is I really don't get to know them better. So what are you gonna do? Question number 6, this is my wrap-up question. And I do this to a lot of traders and actually for my risk consulting firm. I basically give them this open-ended question. I says, I've met with a bunch of traders, right? Obviously, you made it to this level, right? And you're certainly hopefully be a good fit for this. But I met with a lot of traders and I'm gonna be going home this weekend thinking about all of them, right? But sometimes I just get confused and I forget who said that. I liked when they answered that. Wait a second, who was that? Let me check my notes. I don't know if I had it in my notes. Tell me something about you that when I'm driving home, stuck in traffic, I'm gonna remember you. Tell me something unique and special. And quite honestly, I'm not even looking for a trader answer, right? I just wanna hear something. One of the people I've hired at my firm is, when I ask that question, he says, I just, when I was growing up, I worked for my dad in a Chinese restaurant. And I worked so many hours and I sometimes resented it. And he was tough. He's a dad, but he was tough, but he was also my boss. And I was trying to go to school, but he needed help at the restaurant. And he was explaining the scenario to me. But he says, it taught me a valuable lesson is, one, the importance of family, the importance of community, but it also showed me the importance of just how to get things done. Sometimes he felt he had better ideas. He wanted to advertise more on social media and things like, whereas, father was a little more old school, put an ad in the paper kind of thing. I was so intrigued by that answer that I knew my decision. I knew my decision before I even got home. This guy's gonna be part of the team. That's when all the other questions, he was kind of good. He answered the questions relatively good, but that one, he nailed it. He told me something personal, told me something that was very unique and special, and quite honestly, I remembered him. So these are things. It's an open-ended question. Sometimes I'm not looking to stump them. I just want to hear something. Tell me something unique and special. Because quite honestly, a lot of the traders, they keep reverting back to the results in their answers, and I'm really not there for that. So anyway, how would you answer that? What's unique and special about you? By the way, even our membership, we have prop traders who pass challenges and things. And really, one of the key differentials is there's something unique and special about them. It's their drive, their ambition, maybe it's their why. They're just driven. Their ability to learn and understand understand criticism or just at least advice and accept it. Just little things, these sort of business savvy things that really help along the way. And in this case, when you're going to start, the conversation starts, I believe, at like 5 million in trading capital. Well, this is something we want to take a deeper dive in. And this question will often separate sort of the men, boys, girls traders from the ones that maybe don't make the next round. All right. Let me know what your thoughts on some of your answers would be. Let's make this a community type thing. I'll even put my answers if you like. Think about it. All right. These are some of the things, maybe you're not in this situation yet, but it wouldn't hurt to start thinking about how to answer some of these questions, whether it's a prop firm, a trading firm, or even maybe your next employer. Okay? All right, so I hope you got a little something out of this one, a little different twist to some of my educational videos that I put here on YouTube. All right? Don't forget to click on the link below for that trading plan tutorial, that mastermind call we did a few months back. Let me know what you think and wish me luck today, and we'll see you next time.